Well, ladies and gentlemen, today you are in for a treat because I am joined in Poland by a man called Royal Silk, or Mr. Silk, the mysterious Mr. Silk. He is a gentleman that I met a few months ago. He now works with Team Tusk, James Tusk's team, and obviously we're collaborating on this video now, and all-round great guy. But the reason that I brought him on today is because he is a conversation expert, okay? And what we're going to be talking about in this video is how to communicate with women in a way that's effective, will build deep rapport and attraction, and quite frankly will get you much better results in dating than probably you've ever had before. So great to see you, Mr. Silk. Very nice to see you again. We're in your hometown of Gdynia, and yeah, maybe you could just tell them a bit about yourself and how you came into this area of knowledge.
Okay, Troy, thanks for having me on your channel. I'm really honored to be here. And I'm honored, yes, and I'm honored to have you here as well. I'm glad that you came. So, about me, I have a background in communication and behavioralism, and that is mainly from the academic side.
Yeah.
That I know that a certain field have taken and made it practical,
yes,
but not in the dating scene.
Right.
So
right.
what I find out is that many of the academic behavioralism and communication theory that is out there can be made practical even for the dating scene.
Yeah.
And I think that can give a massive value to people that have problem with conversation and how to make the conversation go forward.
Yeah, exactly. So you studied, what would you say, behavioralism or
communication? I have a
communication.
Master of communication, and that is, I have a master of communication and corporate communication, and within that study it involves lots of behavioralism, behavioral science, science of people, and why we act as we do, and specifically neuroscience. Like, what is it that actually makes us release certain chemical in the brains that is actually connected with attraction, that is connected with love feelings, falling in love with someone, and those kind of things. And that area I've been studying a lot.
Nice.
A lot.
Nice. So you were studying this stuff, just to be clear, not because you wanted to get better with women as such, although maybe there's an element of that, but you were studying this because this is a science that is used by people in business, by people in psychology, of course, but by people in politics and just any form of public communication, I suppose. But what we're doing here specifically is saying, okay, so how can these same principles be applied in dating to get better results? And I mean, you were saying to me earlier before we came on camera, I mean, really, apart from approaching, the number one problem that guys have with girls, with women, is, okay, what do I say? And then what do I say next? And you were saying, really, I mean, this is an area that is it's almost untapped, really, in terms of instructional videos of actually telling guys what to say and the reasons why they need to do certain things to pull certain triggers, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it's not until today where the society have structured, somewhat small programs for businesses or other professions to be better in communication in their field. I mean, if we just look back 5 years or 10 years back in time, I mean, it was like huge investment from the corporate side to gain that kind of information, specifically if it's going to be practical.
Yeah.
You see, so it's not until today where we can actually use, theory and make it into practice, even in the dating scene. And I take a huge interest in that part for sure, because I mean, how we communicate, specifically with the goal, specifically when we go on dates, we want to communicate in a way that leads to connection.
Yeah.
Because our default is to communicate based on exchange of information.
Yeah.
And that doesn't lead anywhere.
You mean the male way?
Yeah, the male way. Or basically, men and women are different in communication, but not as different as people think always.
Yeah.
So that is basically for everyone, but more so for males.
Okay.
More so for males.
Yes.
So we want to get into the conversation that leads to connection.
Yes.
The emotional part of the brain, they get triggered when we communicate in a certain way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what would you say? Because one objection off the bat that people might have when you're using this kind of language is we've always been told by the dating community, by people giving game advice, it's all about polarity, it's all about creating attraction. So it's man to woman, so you go in there, you're very sort of polarizing. Words like empathy and understanding and so on, they don't tend to get used so much because it's seen as being antithetical to creating attraction. How would you respond to that?
First of all, I don't think that dating community knows exactly what empathy means to start with.
Okay.
And to understand what empathy means, you really have to deep dive into this one, because when it comes to the old style of, you know, qualify the girl and create a comfort with the girl after the attraction phase, for example, they are not built in the same way. The conversation is not built in the same way. Okay. And when people are saying like, oh, asking a question takes energy from the girl, it takes attraction, it takes away the attraction, is because it's surface level based questions.
Yes.
Always. So it's just a completely different category, I have to say. So I understand that, you know, asking too many questions will actually lead to failure, because there is nothing behind those questions, and that is the main part. There is nothing empathetic about this.
Yeah, because what we're talking about, I suppose the key sin really is you go up to a woman that you're attracted to, say, hey, I saw you look really nice, or you look cute, or whatever you're going to say, and then you go, so where are you from? What work do you do? How long have you done that for? Do you enjoy it? Why are you doing that? You know, very, very surface level, bang, bang. How do you get into work? How's your 401k? You know, that kind of thing. Like machine gunning questions is obviously a cardinal sin, and we're not recommending that. But there was something, particularly with the London day game model, a few years ago, it was very much frowned upon to ask questions within the first so many minutes. It was like, don't ask questions, make statements. What you're actually proposing is something different to that. Actually, we can ask questions, but we're asking questions in a certain way in order to elicit a sort of deeper emotional connection.
Absolutely. So the thing with question is not like exchange of information questions based. Yeah. So even though you ask a question, it should be focused on the why she's doing a certain thing, why she thinks in a certain way. And that is very, very important, because it's not until you're asking questions that goes under the surface where when it's not until that time when those beautifully chemical reactions in the brain start working. So if you start asking a surface-based question and then make another surface-based question and then a third surface-based question, I mean, it will not create any dopamine spikes at all, basically, and it will just fail. However, if you will be in the area where you will be able to make her explain to you what she thinks about things and why she thinks about those things, that is when something happens in the brain. Those chemical reactions is actually connected with romance, sex, and bonding, basically. It leads to connection.
So just to be clear with viewers, what we're talking about here, if you can get this stuff mastered, this is going to make it more likely for you to get dates, and basically more likely for you to get intimate after those dates, right?
Absolutely. This is quite comprehensive, but it's definitely quite easy to learn if you have a structured plan, if you have a framework to go for. So, I mean, and within this field is what I used to call empathetic listening. So you have to have reflective listening and empathetic listening in order to achieve that.
Okay.
And
you can define those.
I can definitely define those. So to start with is once she start talking about what she thinks about things. So one of my favorite, for example, if I'm hearing Gdynia, is to ask the question like, what do you think about Gdynia?
Okay.
You see? And that is like a setup question.
So how would you just take it to the beginning? So how would you? So you approach the girl, and then what do you say? You might just say a normal kind of thing, like, "Oh, you look pretty."
Okay, so for example, like this is my go-on approach, and it worked beautifully. So in general, I just go and say, "Excuse me. I know this is really spontaneous, but I think you look really nice, and I had to come and say hi. My name is Michael," and she might say, "Oh, my name is Vanessa."
Okay.
Yeah. And I say, "Oh, nice to meet you, Vanessa. So, Vanessa, are you from here?" She either say yes or no. And if she say yes, okay, so Vanessa, what do you think about Gdynia? And I wait. That question make her think about what she actually thinks about goodenia. And whatever she answers are using something I call seek clarification, because you're probably going to say something